Welcome to the fourth session of the second module. Actually, in the previous three sessions, we have discussed about the boilers and its types, and then we have also discussed the different types of boilers. One was the Lancashire boiler, and the other one was the Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Later on, we have also discussed the difference between or the comparison between the Lancashire and Babcock and Wilcox boiler, and we have also discussed different types or the classification of boilers also. So in this session, let us talk about the in that second. Let us start the second chapter in which we will be discussing about the turbines. So the content follows like this: water turbines, classification of water turbines, impulse turbine, and Pelton wheel turbines. Basically, I am not doing much about this turbine. Turbines are basically a power producing devices which takes the heat as an input, or it takes as a kinetic energy of the water, or it also takes the enthalpy as an input, and it produces the mechanical energy as an output. Basically what happens, all the thermal power plant, all the power plants, whether it is a thermal or a hydel or steam or any type of power plants, will have the turbines. Without turbines, the generation of electricity is impossible, except which happens to be in the wave or a tidal energy, or it may be in a solar energy conversions. I'm just talking about in the power plants, conventional power plants. Turbines plays a major role which acts as a heart of the power plants. These turbines are power producing devices which converts one form of energy, some form of energy, into mechanical energy, and later this mechanical energy will be converted into electrical energy by the use of generators. Okay, this generators shaft will be coupled to the shaft of the turbine so that the mechanical energy will be converted into electrical energy by the use of generators. Now I will be talking in particularly about the water turbines. Water turbines are also called as hydel turbines. These hydraulic or water turbines are the machines or the devices which converts the kinetic and the potential energy possessed by the water into mechanical or rotary energy. Thus, these are further coupled to an electrical generator to produce electric power. The water is stored. The water is stored stored artificially in the reservoirs. That means the dams, what we popularly call it as the dams. So what happens? We will store the water there so that the potential energy of the water will be increased by constructing dam across the flowing rivers. Water from these reservoirs is carried through penstocks to the turbines where hydraulic energy of the water is being converted into mechanical energy. Water turbines are basically classified as follows. In the first way of classification, by the inlet, the type of energy available at the inlet of the turbine. It is an impulse turbine and the reaction turbine. The energy available at the inlet of the turbine is only kinetic energy. Example: Pelton wheel, Girard turbine, and Bunke turbines are an example for impulse turbine. Reaction turbines, the energy available at the inlet of the turbine is both pressure energy and kinetic energy. So such kind of turbines we call it as a reaction turbine. Next, examples for this reaction turbine is Kaplan turbine, Francis turbine, and Thomson turbines, and etc. Now, what happens is, even this impulse and reaction turbines also comes under the category of principle of working. If you consider the principle of working of a turbine, impulse turbines works basically on the impulsive force of action. That means impingement. If this is a nozzle, if this is a nozzle, the water which will be coming with the highest velocity, which impinges, which strikes the blades of the turbines and makes the turbine shaft to rotate. This is what we call it as an impulse turbine. The reaction turbine, no, this is works basically on the reactive force of action. One example I would like to take you. If you take a air balloon, you take an air balloon and puff it with a completely air. What happens if you release its mouth? If you release that mouth, whatever the air which has been collected in that with the higher pressure, it comes out. But the reactive force acts in the other direction. So the air goes out like this and the balloon will tries to move away with the opposite direction. So this is the one beautiful example for the reactive forces. So the reaction turbine basically works on the principle of both impulse action as well as reactive action. So that is the basic principle of this reaction turbines. So this Francis and Kaplan turbine comes under the category of reaction turbines. Based on the head under which turbine works, high head turbines, medium head turbines and the low head turbines. Basically these high head turbines, water available at the inlet of the turbine is about 300 meters. That means the water which is being stored in the dam will have more than 300 meters. That is what it's a high head turbine, which we call it as 300 meters. Basically, Pelton wheel turbine comes under this category. Then the medium head turbine. Head of water available at the inlet of the turbine ranges from 50 meters to 150 meters. Example, Francis turbine comes under this category. And the third one is a low head turbine. Head of water at inlet will be less than 50 meters height. So that is Kaplan turbine. Now in the Almaty near Bijapur, we will have a turbines. The hydro turbines is being used where we use a Kaplan turbine. Okay, now let us study. The high head turbine will have 300 meters of head, that is the potential energy which is available for that is 300 meters, and for the medium head it is 50 to 50 meters to 150 meters. And then when it comes to the low head turbines, it has got less than 50 meters height. The third one is based on the direction of flow of water through the runner. Tangential flow turbine, axial flow turbine, radial flow turbine and a mixed flow turbine. This is based on the flow directions, how it does act. So the water flows along in the tangential flow turbine, water flow along the tangent to the runner. Example, Pelton wheel turbine, and that means tangential direction of the water will flow onto this runners. Okay, I'll tell you what you mean by a blades, what you mean by buckets, and what you mean by runners on the later stage. With the sketches, I will explain you. That makes you to give you a better idea. Okay, now axial flow turbine. Water flows in a direction parallel to the axis of rotation. That means if this is a turbine blade, if this is a turbine blade, the axial direction in which parallelly, actually, if these are all the turbine blades which is rotating like this, if it is rotating like this in the same direction, see, if it is rotating like this, the water will also flow axially with this. So that is what we call it as axial flow turbines. Kaplan turbine comes under this category. Then the radial flow turbines, water flow in radial directions, in a radial direction. This is what it is, a radial direction through the runner. Radial flow turbines are further classified into inward radial flow and outward radial flow. Okay, Thomson turbine, the Girard turbine and the old Francis turbines comes under the category of radial flow turbines. And the last one is a mixed flow turbine. Water flows radially that means the water flows radially into the runner and leaves axially. It just enters the turbines radially and leaves axially. It enters radially and leaves axially. So that is what we call it as a fixed blow turbines. Now let us take an impulse turbine. Impulse turbine example, we have taken it as a Pelton turbine or a Pelton wheel. In an impulse turbine, a high velocity jet of water hits a series of special shaped cups on the runners. Now these are all also called as a buckets. We don't call it as a blades, we call it as a cups. It will be like this. Now if you can see this, it will be like this. This is how it will be. It is there in our fluid mechanics laboratory also. If you want, you can go and check it out. Now the buckets will be like this, a cup-like structure. In the middle, it will be symmetric. Now you can see my hand. It will be symmetric from this end. So the water is exactly strikes in the middle of this, and it just gets deviated in both the directions. It just gets deviated in both the directions, something like this. Is that clear? These are called as a cups, or these are also called as a buckets, and these are all fixed to a big shaft. That is what we call it as a runner, for which these buckets or cups are fixed. The jet impinges on the turbines covered blades, which reverse the flow. The resulting change in momentum or an impulsive action of force causes the force on the turbine blades. Since the turbine is spinning, the force acts through a distance and the diverted water flow is left with diminished energy. Once the water strikes the buckets or the blades, it loses its kinetic energy. This energy is been converted into mechanical energy or the rotational energy. So once it loses its energy, it falls down and goes out with the tail race. Okay, now prior to hitting the turbine blades, the water's pressure, potential energy is being converted into kinetic energy using a nozzle. Nozzle is always something like a converging section. Now you can see this pen tip where the tip is converged. It is been converged. It was like this and it has been converged. So that means here it is a higher diameter and this is here it is a lower diameter. So the change in section makes this water which is flowing inside this will be converted into the pressure energy will be converted into kinetic energy using a nozzle. Nozzle is a device which is used to convert the pressure energy into or the potential energy into kinetic energy. Okay, and focused onto the turbine. No pressure change occurs at the turbine blades, and the turbine doesn't require a housing for operations. Now let us talk about this Pelton. Pelton, it is the name of a scientist who invented this turbine in the year of 1880. In the 1880s, it's very long ago, almost 141 years ago. So the water passes through nozzles and strikes cups arranged on the periphery of a runner or a wheel, which causes the runner to rotate, producing mechanical energy. The runner is the runner is fixed on the shaft and rotational motion of the turbine is transmitted by the shaft to a generator. Pelton turbines are suited for a very high head, low flow applications. They are used in storage power stations with the downward gradients above 300 meters. Now this is one clear picture will tells you. Before this I could have now in the first module when we were talking about the non-conventional energy sources, I have shown you the dam or a reservoir wherein which at the little below portion or the bottom portion of that whatever the head that is being stored, the head with which it is being stored, that is what we call it as a head rise. The water which strikes the turbine blades and flows out without any energy having it, that is what we call it as the tail race. Now this is a water which is called as a penstock. Penstock is a big pipe from the turbine. It will be coming. I'm sorry, from the dam. The water is being taken to the surge tank. Surge tank is a place where the pressure of the water will be decreased. Then from the surge tank, the penstock will have, it's a conduit. It's a conduit or a big pipe. In other words, don't get confused. Penstock is a big pipe from which the water will be coming with a very high potential energy. And at the end of this penstock, we will have a nozzle. Nozzle, as you can see it in the sketch, it is a converging section. It was like this, and it will have a converging section like this. So what happens at this section? The potential energy will be converted into pressure, the kinetic energy. That means we know the conservation of energy law. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form of energy to the other form of energy. Now the same thing is happening over here. The head is nothing but a potential energy. The potential energy is been converted into kinetic energy using a nozzle. This kinetic energy has been converted into mechanical energy. Then mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. Is it clear? Now using this nozzle, the potential energy of the water is been converted into kinetic energy. Now this kinetic energy or the velocity can also be varied. Now why it has been varied? I'll come to that later on here with that. Now what happens? The water which comes with a higher potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy of the water using a nozzle, and this water will strikes the buckets or the uh, what we call it as buckets or veins. Okay. Now these buckets, or we also call it as a cups, because it will be in a shape of a cup. We call it as the cups, or we also call it as the buckets. These buckets will have a symmetric shape like this, as shown in the below figure. Now let us come back. This high velocity strikes this blades and makes this to displace. Then the other bucket will come into this place, and that will also experience an impact or impingement of the water. So continuous impingement and striking of these blades make this runner. This is a runner is a one circular thing. What you can see it here. A runner is a one disc for which all this number of buckets or cups have been attached. So that what happens, the water strikes this and makes this to rotate. It makes it to rotate with a very high speeds, with a very high RPMs, revolutions per minute. Thus it converts kinetic energy of the water into mechanical energy. As you can see this, at the middle of the runner we have got a shaft, and this shaft equally rotates, and this shaft will be coupled to a generator which further converts this mechanical energy into electrical energy. Once it strikes, a casing is required because it just splashes the water. If the water comes and hits like this, obviously it splashes the water, so it should not uh, be splashing outside. So what we will do it is we will have a casing. Is that clear? Now after striking this blade, after striking this veins or buckets, it loses its energy. The kinetic energy it loses, and it falls down. It falls down in a tile race. In the tile race, and this water will be used for some other agriculture purposes or drinking purposes. So other rest of the applications. That is the use of this Pelton wheel turbines. Now I will go in deeper with this. Now you can see this in the first figure. There is a hand wheel and there is a spearhead. This spearhead, as you keeps rotating that hand wheel, this spearhead will comes in front. That means this spearhead is coming near to the end of this nozzle. Okay, the spearhead is coming to the end of the nozzle. Now, my dear friends, please be careful here. Now, as the spearhead is coming near to this nozzle tip or nozzle end, what is happening? It is reducing the area which is available for the water flow. It is reducing the area for the water flow. Is it clear? Now, once it is reducing the area for this water flow, what is happening? What is happening? We are increasing the velocity. We are increasing the velocity. Is it clear? If your hand wheel is rotating in a counterclockwise direction, now this spearhead will comes back. So that what is happening? The area is increasing. Once this area is increasing, the velocity is being decreased. Now, why do you want to increase the velocity and why do you want to decrease the velocity? A point to be noted here, my dear friends. What happens? Initially, it is a big Pelton turbine. Whatever you see it in the sketch, it is only a line diagram. Basically, these turbines will be of a big house size or a room size. Such a big turbines it will be. You cannot 100 people together cannot rotate it. So such a big turbines it will be. So what happens in case if it is in a zero position? That means if it is not rotating, initial force require is more. Once it starts rotating, then additional speed what it is required to maintain that speed will be less. It is something like your bicycles, my friends. You are pedaling. Initially, when you start pedaling it, you need to apply more force. Once if you start pedaling, once it starts rotating, the force which is required to maintain that speed will be less. The same concept holds good here also. So initially what happens? We need to have a more velocity over here. So the higher velocity is required. Then what we will do it is, we will rotate this in a clockwise direction. The hand wheel will be rotated in a clockwise direction so that the spearhead will go in front, so that it reduces the surface area, so that the velocity with which it is coming will be more. Once it starts rotating, I will take the spearhead backside. I will take the spearhead backside. Is that clear? Because I am just taking this spearhead backside, what I will do it is, I am increasing this area. Once I am increasing, I am reducing the velocity so that it will be maintained. And irrespective of the position of the spearhead, irrespective of this position, the water will always impinges at the middle portion of these buckets. Now please look at the figure number B, below one. The buckets, I have taken only one single bucket. The single bucket will always be symmetric like this. I was always telling you like this. It is symmetric like this. It is something like this bucket. The jet of water which always strikes, irrespective of the spearhead position, it always strikes at the centermost portion of the bucket. The water which is coming over here will be deviated equally on both the sides. See, you can see the arrow marks. Jet of water. A jet is nothing but some fluid which is coming with some velocity, with higher velocity we call it as jet. You have a pipe of water. If you press it, what happens? If you take a water in a pipe, if you press the mouth of the pipe, what happens? It comes with higher velocity. If you release it, it comes with lower velocity. And even if you take your tap, you just try to close it, the water which is coming out will have a higher velocity with higher kinetic energy. If you release it, it comes with lower velocity or a kinetic energy. When I am talking about velocity, it is nothing but a kinetic energy, my dear friends. Okay. Now what happens? The jet of water which comes and here, and you can see the other arrow marks. The two arrow marks, since it is a symmetrical means identical on both the sections, it releases. Thus, the kinetic energy has been converted into mechanical energy. That is the principle of working of a Pelton wheel or a Pelton turbine. Actually, this sketch is very good. Better you practice it. The Pelton wheel consists of the following parts: a nozzle with a spearhead. A nozzle is a passage of varying cross section attached to the penstock as shown in the figure. Usually nozzles are arranged around the runner wheel such that the water jet emerging from a nozzle is tangential to the circumference of the runner wheel. The flow of water through the nozzle is controlled by a spearhead which is operated by means of a hand wheel. This arrangement provides a smooth flow of water with negligible energy losses. This is what we have already discussed. Then runner and buckets. The runner is a circular wheel runner for which all the buckets have been fixed. A runner is something like a disc or a wheel, okay, with a series of evenly spaced. Evenly spaced means, let me see this sketch. Evenly spaced means the distance between one bucket with the other bucket remains constant. The distance between this, that is a one bucket, to the other bucket and next to the other bucket, all the distance between any two buckets is always the same. It has been maintained constant. Okay, evenly spaced buckets are fixed around its periphery. The buckets or the cups are shaped like a bowl or a double hemispherical cups. The advantage of having double cup shaped buckets is that the jet of water gets split and leaves symmetrically on both the sides of the bucket. This helps to eliminate the end thrust or axial thrust on the bearing and the output shaft. The flow of water on the bucket is shown in figure B. The runner is coupled to a rotating shaft as shown in figure A. That is what we have already discussed and seen. Turbine casing, it is only to avoid the splashing of water. The casing prevents the splashing of water. It also helps to discharge the water into the tile race. Basically, I have not spoke about the tile race and head race. Head race is the amount of water that is being collected in the dam. Higher the head race, higher the potential energy. Lower the head, lower the potential energy. That, that is what the water which is being collected with a higher head, that is what we call it as a head race, which stores the energy. Once the water is being strike the blades and it loses its complete energy, it falls down and it flows outside as an exit water. That exit water flow rate is what we call it as the tile race. Once again, I have already explained you the working principle, but still you can go through it once again. In this operation, water from the reservoir, that is the dam, having potential energy flows through the penstock and enters the nozzle. As water flows through the nozzle, the potential energy of water is completely converted into kinetic energy in the nozzle. The high velocity jet of water issuing from the nozzle impinges on the curved blades fixed around the runner wheels. The impulsive force of action or the impingement action due to the high velocity means highest, higher kinetic energy of the jet of water sets the runner wheels into rotary motion. When I say it is a rotary motion, it is mechanical energy. Is it clear? Then, hence the shaft coupled to the runner wheel also rotates, thereby doing some useful work. Thus, the potential energy of the water is converted into mechanical energy, correct, or mechanical work. After performing the work, the water freely discharges to the tile race. The work produced at the output shaft is used to drive a generator to produce the electricity. Thus, the potential energy into potential energy into kinetic energy into mechanical energy, and then mechanical energy into electrical energy. Is that clear? So basically, the following are some of the locations where we have the Pelton turbine. This is a wonderful information actually. In Karnataka, we have it in Sharavati. Sharavati, hope you, this is also called as the Jog Falls. Sharavati river, it is, whenever we say it as a Sharavati river, it is nothing but a Jog Falls. There we have Shimsha, it is also called as a Shimsha popularly, that means Shivana Samudra. Okay, the place where for the Sharavati water we have got a hydel power plant, where in which we have a Pelton turbine, where the head of the water will be more than 300 meters. It's a huge amount of water will be collected over there. Okay, now please be careful. The catchment area is different and the head of the water is also different. The amount of water is different, and the amount of head water height is what which matters for us. And the Koyna Dam in Maharashtra, one interesting thing is even this Koyna Dam, it is also built by Saram Vishwesvaraya. And then Palli Vasal, which is there in the Kerala, this power plant also has got the Penton turbines. And then Paikara, which is there in the Tamil Nadu. And then Jogindar Nagar, Himachal Pradesh. Jogindar Nagar, if I'm not wrong, this is one of the most beautiful spot, which makes a eye-pleasing effect if you can watch this Jogindar Nagar, Himachal Pradesh, where we have hydel power plant with Pelton turbines. Advantages of this is it's a simple in construction and easy maintenance, and this is also to drive more power multiple jets with 2 to 6 Pelton wheel may be used. The major disadvantages are being a lot of head loss occurs when the river discharge is slow. This is what one of the major disadvantages actually. Okay, these are the few assignment questions. You can refer it.